guys. Thank you for that first question. It's really interesting to me that you would start off with the We Are the Chosen, which is wonderful. What did I learn through this record? Well, I learned that I could write songs. I learned that I could be patient. I learned that I could write with Vinnie texts. It was a great process, really, only because of COVID. We had nothing to do, you know. We were all going crazy, just trying to get in the road, just trying to write music. We wrote this way via internet, like the iPad that I'm on now, and then we got together and rehearsed and went into Poland to do it. But basically, I learned that I could do a record, that I could do stuff on my own, which was very important. Thank you for the compliments. I'm really proud of the record, too. I also think it's my best work, and I've got a lot more to come. Asked me about the lyrics and where they come from. I have always thought that I existed in a time of paganism and the occult and witchcraft, and when we respected nature, that's where we looked for answers, as opposed to now with the scientific life that we have and the internet and everything's black and white. I like magic. I like spirituality. And it also helps that I was raised in the Catholic Church. So as Dio used to say, we have the dichotomy of good and evil. But I like just writing in different ways, you know, mythological. And it's also a metal thing. You know, we're all into Vikings and knights. But I tend to go more into my mind as opposed to riding my bike down the street. I'd rather be on a dragon, you know. It's very interesting that you call me an influential artist. I appreciate it. I don't see it that way. And you want to know about the constant process of reinvention. I don't do that. I don't sit around and think about what I'm going to do next or how I'm going to do it or how I should present myself. I just do it. I'm not that deep. I was just having this conversation with Vinnie, my guitar player, who kind of likes to strategize everything. I don't. I'm a metal singer. I do metal music. I don't need to look a certain way or sound a certain way. I just go in and sing metal songs. So I don't think about it whenever I have the opportunity to do that, which is because of Chastain, my work with Chastain. But I just want to do straight ahead metal shows in metal records. And I don't really think about the rest. I'm sorry, I'm not very interesting about that. Reinvention, it's not going to happen with me. I'm always going to be the same girl with black hair and black mascara and black clothes. Again, I'm just a metal person. I just live and breathe metal, so whatever comes along with that. I actually just found out that first Chastain record was actually meant to be a Chastain solo record, guitar record, which makes sense because that's what Mike Varney and Shrapnel did, right? I don't really remember the invitation, but I must tell you, when I moved to California in '82, and I was in my first band called Rude Girl, I hooked up with Mike Varney and Shrapnel Records immediately. It was a different time in the '80s. They came looking for you. They came to clubs looking for you. Record labels, managers, promoters. You didn't have to do anything. They came to you. So I met him and I became really good friends with him and his wife, Kathy. So I don't really remember the exact words, but when Rude Girl fell apart, I can tell you that I immediately called Mike Varney, crying, said, I got nothing to do. And I remember him saying, I think I have something for you. And that's all I remember. And then David Chastain sent me 3 songs, Mystery of Illusion, Black Night, and Winds of Change. And back then we would just go and record on the little 4-track. And that's how I got the gig. I remember, you know, again, just feeling it was just another step in my career. I was a little nervous about being in the studio, but as soon as I got in the studio, it was pretty cool. And hence, here we are. After Mystery of Illusion, I didn't think it was going to be a band, no. I thought it was just going to be a project. I had a lot of fun. I didn't really think too much of it, to tell you the truth. because I knew everyone was in different parts of the country. And I got to tell you, I was young and I was just looking for something to do. I just wanted to sing. I kind of had no thoughts after it. I was really proud of it because I knew everyone would like it, but I didn't think too much about it being a band, no. And again, I don't think we toured until 2 records after that. So no, I had no real thoughts. It was thank you very much. I did my job. See you later. And that was about that. You also have to remember, back in those days, it wasn't like now. There was no internet, so I didn't really know the effect that the Chastain record, Mystery Evolution, really had on people. I mean, we would read magazines, you know, I mean, I would hear it on the radio now and then, but it didn't have the impact that it has now. I'm not really sure about what Chastain thought. I just think that he noticed the attention that we were getting and the importance of these records to the metal community. So we just kept doing them. I mean, we never even really talked about it. He just kept writing and I kept singing, but I never really had that conversation with him because he then he then started making solo records. So he has had so many projects. I think it was just another project for him, but we were doing well, so we continued on. And I just wanted to go, go, go. So I think he wanted to keep me happy. Yes, you know, I can remember as a child, it's not that I, excuse me, it's so hot out here, and I'm in Sao Paulo. I was just always the child that was the show-off. I was the one that would, does somebody want to come up and sing the song? I would just do it. And then I had choir in church. I always enjoyed singing. I was not a good singer, but again, I had the brass and the balls to get up and do it. It did influence me because we sang a lot of rock songs actually in my church. So I did get into contemporary music. And I can remember looking out in the church and seeing what music did to people mentally and spiritually and going, wow, and seeing how a voice could affect someone. I can remember going, wow, I was so impressed by that as a young child. So yeah, I would say that was the beginning of my musical journey because then I started doing musical theater through the church. And then when I went to college, I mean, I knew I wanted to sing, but I didn't know what to do. And then I just started hanging out with rock bands and someone said, hey, you want to try to sing this? So yeah, singing in church, not gospel music because I didn't go to those type churches, but singing in church definitely was the beginning of my musical journey. Never in a million years did I think I would end up being a metal singer, you know? That's a great question because everyone knows me as a metalhead. Led Zeppelin and Heart really influenced me in high school. I can remember people saying, you need to listen to this. And it started touching me, especially when Dreamboat Annie came out. But then when I moved to California, again, I knew that I wanted to sing. And when I went to audition for bands, I would sing Heart's version of rock and roll, Led Zeppelin's rock and roll. And then someone said to me one day, hey, try to sing like Bon Scott. But I got to tell you, my turning point, fronting a band and my vocal style was the first time that I heard Ronnie James Dio. I was a really late bloomer to Ronnie James Dio. I didn't discover him until 82 or 83. And I was blown away. It went inside me. It engulfed my being. And then I had the pleasure of meeting him. Yeah, so when I met Ronnie, then I got introduced to the big boys, you know, the Jeff Tates, the Dickinsons, the Dio. So that was the beginning of that. When I heard their power and their strength, I needed to do that. And my voice always wanted to go there. I just had to teach it how to do it. It was really natural for me. But yeah, when I heard the big boys, I call them the big three, Dio, Dickinson, and Tate. But Ronnie has always had an influence on me. I mean, he influenced everybody, but yeah. Thank you. But which runs into your other question about female bands. Malibu Barbie was never my band. Malibu Barbie was a band that my drummer and guitar player had started after Rude Girl. I did that EP with them because their singer at the time, he was sick or something. So they called me in between Chastain tours, and I just did those songs for them, never my band. Yeah, like I was saying in the question before, being in an all-girl band back then was treacherous. Yeah, we got a lot of flack. But, you know, I didn't listen. We were just out there trying to be Judas Priest. We didn't care. Look, women still, especially back in the day, we didn't give a shit what you guys thought. We weren't afraid of you. We were just trying to hone our craft. We didn't care what anybody said. The more people hated, the more I fueled from it. But it was pretty crazy. They wanted you to be all sexual, of course, which I never was. So I think that probably actually hurt my career. You know, I was in the day of Doro and Lita, and I don't look like that. But again, it was very interesting, and it has shaped me into what I am now. So it was a cool time. That's a great question. Opening up for Megadeth and Exodus, and God, there were a couple others. Wasp, I think. Being in an all-girl band in the 80s, doing metal. Oh my God, I got spit on. I got shoes thrown at me. I got beer bottles thrown at me. But you know, it was a really good training ground. I always loved it. It never offended me because it made me work harder to get them. But that was really an experience. And sometimes I still think, I think it's gonna happen now. But you know, the 80s were weird for chick bands. Not so much anymore. But it was frightening and exhilarating at the same time. It didn't scare me. Nothing scares me. You know, that question is always asked me about female bands back then. I guess they were always everywhere. It's never been a concern or an interest of mine. Girl bands, boy bands. I honestly don't care. I don't fall into the female category. I don't want to fall into a category. The female and male thing is so boring to me. But I did open for Girls' School, wonderful. I opened for Joe Jett, wonderful. But I didn't even think about it. I just, and still do, just want to do music. I'm not concerned about sexuality at all. Again, to continue on, I have seen a major growth of women in music, at least out in the forefront. Women have proved that they can sell out auditoriums, that they can sell records, that they can just be sold personally. So I'm really excited about it. But again, I don't do the gender thing very much, so, but power to females. Which runs into your other question. A Malibu Barbie was never my band. I just did that 2-track EP because their singer was ill or something. Not my band. I had nothing to do with them. I just knew who they were. And I do believe that they did write that song about Cliff Burton, yes. They were pretty thrashy, and they were huge Cliff Burton fans, so I believe that's all true. Yes, but not my band, guys. But I appreciate that you like those songs very much. The reason for my comeback was, unfortunately, the loss of Ronnie Dio. I went down to LA for his, I know, look at this background, isn't it beautiful? For his funeral services. And I can remember feeling really insignificant and stupid for not dealing with my voice. It was a gift that I had been given and I wasn't using it. So that was all about Ronnie, and I wanted to do something for Ronnie and for Wendy, for them to know, you know, that how much I loved them. And I was actually blessed enough to use Scott Warren and Jimmy Bain on that record. So it was quite emotional. I rehearsed in the studios where Ronnie used to rehearse. It was a really big deal for me, and I hadn't sang for a while, so that was a pretty big deal. Thanks for asking about Imagine Me Alive. Jimmy Bain and Scott Warren kind of just happened in the process. We were dealing with a gentleman named Keith at the time, who was a friend of Sandy, the drummer's. And we just kind of started talking about it. And I think between him and Sandy, because Sandy knew Jimmy Bain and Scott Warren, she lived in LA, everybody knows everybody. So I think it just kind of came up, like, let's reach out and see if they would do it. And they were willing to do it. So that was pretty special. I mean, I did a couple of shows with them, and it was pretty wild to see Scott Warren to my right, where he was. But it was because I knew people, and they were kind enough to help me out. I don't know how new they are, but I'm really into Spirit Box. I have such a crush on Courtney. Ginger, Lamb of God, I love Pantera, Trips of Doom, Torture Squad. I don't do extreme metal, but I love extreme metal. All these bands are amazing. Slaughter to Prevail. Oh my God, that guy's amazing. I think they're Russian. I love intense music. I love aggression. I like songs that don't ever come down, that they just cause major chaos to your ears. So I'm pretty happy with all the extreme metal people, very much so. My relationship with Brazil, that is strange, but it happened 2014. Chastain got an offer from a promoter to come and tour Brazil. Chastain is done touring. Oh, I'm sorry about that. So he passed it on to me. I immediately grabbed it. I started coming down in 2014, and it just really worked for me. I have an affinity for this country. I'm not quite sure what it is, but as soon as I got off the plane, it's the smells, it's the clouds, it's the music, and the people are so passionate about music. I fell in love with it, and then I continued to come down. In 2016, I was blessed enough to be opening for the Rob Rock tour, and I had the musicians then that I was working with, but that's how I met Vinny. Vinny was playing with Rob Rock at that time, and I started having discussions with him. And you know, the beauty of this whole relationship with the Brazilians is that they did not really know who I was, so there wasn't that preconception of what I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to sound like. They were really wide open to it, and that's what I like about the musicians here. They just want to write songs. They want to do music. They just want to get better. They aren't worried about fads and what they look like and what we're supposed to say. So anyway, through that, Vinny Tex and I started talking, and we just grew together musically. We wanted to do the same thing, you know. So I've continued my relationship with Brazil. Through Vinny, I met Marcelo Vasco, who now does my covers and all my graphic stuff. Braulio, I used him on the record, but now I use other musicians. I work with Kiko Shred, I work with Marcus Data, I work with Fabio Carito, excuse me. So it just really works for me. Again, we all have the same spirit here, which is different than the US. I'm always really welcomed here. I feel at home here. I feel safe here. It's my second home. Thank you for those kind words, and since it's taken me so long to do this interview, I so apologize. I am in Brazil. The tour has started. I did April Pro Rock last weekend. It was wonderful. The tour basically starts this weekend in Santos. Everything that I do here is amazing, and I haven't been on stage now since 2019, so it's all very exciting, the interaction with them. The fans here are great. They aren't my fans, they're my friends. How they remember all the Chastain stuff. They're just really supportive. I remember everything that I do here, and I look forward to continuing to tour here. So go to leone.com to come see me. Well, the set list can change at any time, I have to tell you. Vinny always has different ideas, but I am pulling out some older Chastain. People have requested that they want to hear that, and that's okay. I don't mind doing it. I will always do the Chastain classics, and then I have from my last record that you've been so kind in talking about, thank you, We Are the Chosen, which is a big, epic, really important song to Vinny, so we will do that. It's gonna, like I said, I'm gonna do some songs that are gonna really surprise people, and I'm so excited to be back. Again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your patience. I hope to meet you. Again, go to leatherleone.com to find out the dates. Love and dear.